Good evening, thugs and pimps and brothers from another mother, and welcome to Open Crowdsource.
Did you say fucks or thugs?
I was trying to say thugs, but either way works. I am Frederick Olsen, and I'm of course joined by the original crew, Gareth Millward and Trolls Plymert. How have you been, Gareth?
I've been straight up balling.
Dope. How have you been, my man, Trolls?
I've been rocking the his house, pimp.
Oh, shizzy and a hizzy. So anyway, we have, of course, also got a guest on tonight. So let me turn the camera over to the original pimp, if I can figure out how. I'm, of course, high as fuck on my dope-ass shit. There he is.
I don't think anyone's ever said that in the entirety of history.
Probably, well, they have now. But yeah,
it's the first.
Yeah, we've got the original pimp here. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages and all hustlers with the same interests, welcome at this time the multi-talented Canuck who writes books, has great looks, and makes games about ducks. We talking Ducktalez, yo! A legend who has made adventure games with every single damn member of the OCD panel. It's probably OCS panel, thank you, Gareth, tonight, and made them almost playable. The man behind, in front of, inside, and adjacent to publishing outlet Box of Mystery. Artist, programmer, writer, lover. Big it up, homeboys, and lose your fucking shit for Chris Ushko!
I mean, dope.
Dope. Straight up yo motherfucking ass. So, how are you doing, Chris?
I'm absolutely terrified to be here, Fred.
Oh, yeah, well, I thought you would be. Less or more terrified, yo. Now that we've...
About you, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Everything's just glitching out at this
point.
point.
I was going to say, what is going on at Fred's house? He seems to be having some real issues. Anyway, Chris, how are you?
Great, how are you doing?
Oh, we're not too bad, but Fred very much seems to be dead. So,
yeah, he's frozen in time over there.
We had this problem last episode too. He will inevitably just, disappear. I am screenshotting this bastard right now.
Chris, what do you think would be the most appropriate way to mourn the passing of Fred Olsen?
Just leave that picture up like that forever.
Okay.
That would be one.
Remember him like that in that moment.
We could also write a tribute album to him and say that he was murdered by Google in a drive-by.
Yeah.
Oh, we just got a private message from him that says, "Can't see or hear you on my laptop." There's a reason for that.
He's a ghost.
There's a reason for that. You're frozen, and he disappeared on us. Yeah. Excellent.
So, this could well be the greatest piece of radio ever committed to the virtual airwaves.
Oh yes, this is just straight up dope.
I didn't choose the thug life. The thug life chose me, and I didn't lose the internet. The internet lost me.
There you go. For some reason, the machine is still online, though.
Yeah, well, the machine didn't lose it, my laptop did, so that's some straight-up fucking dope-ass shit.
Yeah. Maybe you should get on with the OG spiel while you still have connectivity.
That was what I thought I would do. So let me pick up where, to my mind, I left off. What we've got here is a game. We've got a gang-banging, finger-licking, dirty-ass show, but it's not a game show. This is where 4 players sit the fuck down with each other and dome-storm the next blockbuster adventure game for reals. And if you're listening to this as the head of a major label or as a struggling indie, your ass is free to take this scam and run with it, because after all, this is open crowdsource. So the rules is simple. The open crowdsource machine will randomly select 4 cards containing a cold-ass little character, a setting, a task, and a modifier. And then our crazy asses have 30 minutes to sketch up a gangbanging full-length adventure game from whatever it gives us. Right back up in yo motherfucking ass. Some of the cards is plucked from the funky-ass adventure game pornos of yore. Right back up in yo motherfucking ass, apparently. Some aren't. Now, sometime during the proceedings, the faceless jerk of the game's Bala will chime in with a twist we all gotta adhere to and chisel our design accordingly. Twists come up in two flavors, major and minor, and we can straight up expect that jerk to throw one of each at us. At the end of the half hour, a funky-ass buzzer will sound. I wouldn't describe it as that, but, you know. And we will recap what the fuck we've designed. Y'all know that shit, motherfucker. We record these live, so players up in the chat room, irc.freenode.net, #backseatdesigners, and on Twitter, with an A, not an ER, at BSDesigners, can get involved by suggesting deal points, additions, most blingingly of all, the title for our masterwork. Okay, Chris, do you know what the fuck you signed your ass up for, bitch?
For shizzle!
We should probably, at this point, come clean and say we didn't actually write that. We just threw it through a...
Gareth fucked up sucking ass wrote that.
Straight up. No shit.
Straight up.
You didn't run it through, what was it, gazoogle.com or something?
Yeah, gazoogle.net, actually.
.net. I thought you just took the script and ran it through that one. That was dope as shit, motherfucker.
I did. Well, that was some sick shit. So anyway, I hereby do declare that the machine is more ready than 50 Cent in front of a shooting range. Incidentally, that was the last sound he heard before he got riddled with bullets.
We promise this is not going to go on for the rest of the episode, or will it?
No, this is the hip hop episode. This goes out to Martin Chicolaga or whatever that asshole was called. Anyway, let's. I haven't messed up the cards, incidentally, so let's get on our way. A dominatrix from America must teach a curmudgeon how to love again without invoking Godwin's law. Now, how do you make a dominatrix into a good adventure game main character, Chris?
Well, she already comes with her own inventory, so.
That is true. That is very true. She does.
All right.
Maybe we should define for the plebes out there, the whack-ass honkies, what Godwin's law actually is.
Well, Godwin's law is that, isn't it? Whenever you mention Hitler in the discussion online, so whenever you're pimping with your crew and one of them goes, "Man, you just like Hitler and the Nazis," then that would be invoking Godwin's law.
The historian looks like he's agreeing.
Yeah.
I was actually asking for myself because I couldn't remember what Godwin's law was.
Oh, well, you can tell. If you look at Gareth, you can tell he's tried it before.
It's that old internet adage that any conversation on the internet will eventually end up mentioning the Nazis, and that at that point, it's over.
Yeah.
All right. So it's reductio ad Hitlerum.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. So yeah, we've got to have a dominatrix and just steer away from all that fascism shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so perhaps we've got, well, she's a dominatrix from America. There's a lot of senior citizens looking for love in America, I'm guessing. So we've got an old curmudgeon living in an apartment building somewhere in the Bronx, and he's going on about, I was a veteran. We won World War II, and she must teach him how to love again.
I guess he hasn't been laid in a while. Maybe it's like Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump. Maybe this guy came out unarmed without the use of his legs.
Maybe he's got like a secret Nazi fetish, which is why he's hiring a dominatrix. Like he's a war vet with a Nazi fetish.
No, he can't do because we're not invoking Godwin's law.
No, we're not going to invoke. So it's gonna. Maybe he resembles Hitler to the point where she's not really sure if it's Hitler, but she doesn't want to bring it up because that would be invoking Godwin's law.
Okay, so he's a war vet, but it wasn't World War II.
No, he just happens to look like Hitler. Have you ever seen the band Sparks? For some unknown reason, their keyboard player decided he wanted this little pencil mustache. So you've got this guy behind a piano looking like Hitler.
That is all. Okay, let's turn the spotlight over to our esteemed guest with the pizza hat.
Yeah.
Where do you see the story going?
Well, we got to figure out where this is really taking place. Like, are we going to the Bronx, or is she coming from America, or is this all going to take place in one room where all you have to do is just pick up items off the wall and bring them over to the guest, or use them on the guest?
So
that's a different kind of game.
It's one of those X-rated. We've done a couple of X-rated games on this show. It wouldn't be a first for us.
X-rated is fine. Actually, X-rated is sometimes preferable.
Although you do make a very salient point, Krish. Did I just call you Krish?
Not Krish.
Sorry.
Hey, Rich?
Mr. Ush.
Chris Ushko.
Which is that the dominatrix is from America, but the game doesn't actually have to be set in America.
Yeah. So she'd be the foreigner coming to help another person in another country. So.
Yeah.
We've had Hitler on the show before, but maybe she's coming to, I don't know, aid an unknown descendant of Hitler or something, or just some head Nazi who survived to a grossly old age and he's looking for love.
Maybe she goes to Germany to help out, the elderly, and a person with Alzheimer's or something to that effect, something like terminal memory loss. I don't know if you can have terminal memory loss, but it's a person who doesn't remember that World War II ever took place.
But they're not allowed to mention or even allude to the Nazis, so I don't see how any of this is possible.
This is these cards are interesting because the first three of them is actually kind of an interesting game. You've got kind of a Leisure Suit Larry situation, but then the last one jumps in and just completely. It actually kind of fucks with me. I'll
Wait a minute.
It
Gareth,
sounds like a movie plot.
But Gareth, you're assuming that the game cannot invoke Godwin's law. Maybe it refers to the dominatrix. She cannot invoke God. She cannot invoke Godwin's law. I mean, the game can. I mean, the game can make all the references to World War II that it wants, but the dominatrix must not remind him of World War II because then his brain pops or something.
PTSD.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, without invoking PTSD.
Do you guys remember that weird? I think it was a German movie where some people are taking care of their old grandmother, and the grandmother is unaware that the Berlin. What? Sorry.
Goodbye, Lenin.
Oh yeah. I've heard of it. Yeah.
Where the grandmother's unaware that the Berlin Wall has fallen, so they try to make it look like there's still the DDR and all that stuff. This could kind of be the same thing. The dominatrix has been hired to do one job, but she must always skirt around the Second World War because the guy must not remember for some reason.
That's interesting. So by now we've established that she does literally, as the card state, come from America. This is not taking place in America.
Doesn't have to. And I like the idea of an old guy, an old crudgy German guy who can't remember that the Second World War ever took place. It doesn't have to be in Germany. Obviously, he could be a World War II war criminal who has escaped to the U.S. and has now blocked it all out.
Yeah. He could be. Well, the story makes sense, but right now, to me, it sounds more like a romantic black comedy. How do you go about turning this into an adventure game? Is what I'm thinking.
I'm not answering this one. I am gonna shut up for now. Someone else needs to talk.
You would probably have. I'm thinking.
Not you. I didn't mean you.
Someone else. Talking. Yeah. You guys are being awfully quiet. Do I need to take this off or?
You're just too dope.
Yeah, we're so dope for your motherfucking asses.
I'm trying to get my head around an idea of sort of an X-rated remake of Goodbye Lenin, but set in 1950s Berlin instead of 1990s Berlin. That's what I'm trying to get my head around. Although I do quite like the idea of this person who, because of PTSD and various other things, has blocked out all the memory of the Second World War, and if they're reminded of it, that might set them into some kind of spiral or mean that they get detected by the authorities or something like that. So,
or send them off into some kind of crazy rage that endangers the lives of everybody around him. So
yeah.
Yeah, maybe he remembers. I quite like the war criminal angle, where it turns out he's actually this really, really horrible guy who does like genetic experiments on infants or something like that. And if you remind him of it, then all of a sudden the light bulb comes on, and then he's out to find the next victim or something. So you have to keep him placated.
That's actually kind of interesting. I think.
Sorry. Full on Mr. Hyde.
Sorry, Chris, what was that?
He goes full on Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. With organ music and lightning and.
So he should be playing some kind of very important role in wherever he is now. So he's these scientific skills that he was using on infants. He's now using for some kind of. He's helping in whichever village or town that he now lives in. He's a real pillar of the community, and the community can't stand to lose him. But in order to do that, they've got to keep him happy and also make sure he never remembers what he's done.
Well, something like that happened in real life. What with Werner von Braun and some of the other guys with a, shall we say, conspicuous track record, went over to the U.S. to help with the space program because they knew their rocketry, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But.
Well, that's actually an interesting thing. So we could set this in. Sorry, my cap keeps falling off. That's why I'm messing with it.
It's just too dope for you to handle.
I know. We could set this in America. Obviously, adventure games work best when they're set in America for some reason, even though they sell a lot in Germany. I don't know where I'm going with that line, but I'd like the idea. I like the idea of this German war criminal who has lost all memory of whatever he's done in the war, but he's gone off to America because his expertise is so. I mean, maybe he's coming over to be a pediatrician. He used to do experiments on infants. Now he's a pediatrician.
And he's actually a leading pediatrician, and no one really questions why. Well, it was because that he managed to get that much knowledge of children by actually opening them and peeking inside. He wasn't just reading about it.
Yeah, I like the idea that he's such a good pediatrician. He does really, really wonderful work on saving kids' lives, saving like inner city kids' lives, people who can't afford medical bills and stuff like that. And then he's around children a lot, so
and the children love him.
Yeah.
Hello, my little friend, Wonder Lollipop.
And if he remembers something, he's got ready access to a lot of children.
That is, yeah.
So, Chris, what are your thoughts on where we're going with this?
But at this point, he's learning to not love children anymore, and we have to teach him to love children again, right?
I guess that's a way to.
Type of
I guess that's a tightrope we have to walk. Yeah. But.
This is what I was worried about before coming on the show.
And rightfully so. He does bring up a good point, which is that we've kind of skirted over the curmudgeon bit.
Yeah. I guess children can love him if he's a curmudgeon. Well, maybe that's just. Maybe it's a regular old Christmas story where he's kind of like the Ebenezer Scrooge that you sort of have to nudge a bit further towards being a functioning human being without actually reminding him of the shit he did.
No, but maybe he's just crotchety and curmudgeon-y around adults. He doesn't like adults. He only likes being around children for reasons he doesn't quite know himself. But he just likes children for some reason.
Yeah.
Like all the kids love him, all the parents hate him.
And we must stress that he likes children in a completely platonic way.
There's no Ian Watkins going on here.
No, don't take out your Lost Prophets album right now.
It's just like dead silence.
Something about the people around him could start reminding him of the war, and the puzzles could center around covering that up or dancing around those issues.
Yeah.
So are you playing as the dominatrix though, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
I guess you could play as the curmudgeon because, as you're right, we've assumed so far that the card stealer is the main character of the game. But what if they don't? Then he could be the main character influence. Question is whether that would work though.
You could have this. Sorry.
So the dominatrix has been hired by the town.
Maybe not even. Maybe you could have an interesting game where you start out as this wonderful pediatrician who's a dick to everyone above the age of 15, let's say, who, for some reason, something is slightly off with the world, kind of like what's that movie? The one where he puts on the sunglasses and all the sign says obey and such.
Oh, They Live.
They Live. Kind of like that. Like something is slightly off. It's still a normal world, but for some reason, every time someone brings up Germany or Second World War, anything like that, it's like been covered over. This little village that I'm picturing, he lives in this small town, Americana kind of thing. And he's like the town pediatrician, and somehow they've managed to sort of cleanse, no pun intended, cleanse the Second World War from you got that from everything, like all the TV stations. Whenever Guns of Navarone comes on, the screen just goes blank.
Yeah, because they really need him because he's that skilled a pediatrician.
And then the dominatrix moves to town. And she becomes the love interest. You don't know that she's a dominatrix until late in the game. What
if the town summons her and it's just kind of lost in translation? They can tell that the barriers are breaking down, and they need someone to give him a good whipping. And
would you really call it dominatrix?
They need her to whip him into shape.
Yeah, exactly. We need to beat him into shape.
I'm picturing her as like a world-famous dominatrix, like Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And good parallel.
Whenever there's trouble, you call her in, and she parachutes down into town.
Sorry.
Then maybe she should be the protagonist, at least for some portions of the game, because you would want to. I actually love that idea of like a female Indiana Jones parody decked out in leather with a whip. And whenever she shows up, there's this epic John Williams theme playing.
Okay, so we've got two choices here. We can either go batshit silly, which is parachuting a dominatrix into small town Americana to stop a pediatrician from remembering the Second World War.
We have 15 minutes to do that.
Or we could go the more subtle route, which is that, okay, it's a woman who comes to town, she befriends this curmudgeon-y old pediatrician. She happens to be a dominatrix, and they strike up a romantic relationship, and whips and chains get involved, but it's not the focus of the story. Which one of those are you guys going for?
I like the former one. The second one sounds more like an episode of The Simpsons.
Kind of like Gilmore Girls in leather. No one bats an eye at that one.
Yeah.
Rory, can you help me with my corset?
What do you guys? I saw Gareth nodding his head in approval. You prefer the former idea too, I gather.
I like the first one. I think that this is such a ridiculous premise anyway that we should
just say it like it is, Gareth. You think the cars are shit.
Not at all. I think there's definitely something that you can do with this.
Which is a first, another BSD first, because every time when we go off the air and we hit the Facebook chat, Gareth will inevitably say, "Well, those cards were shit."
Well, Gareth has faith in these cards, and that's what scares me. Are you in agreement, Chris, about the former idea where we go completely silly and make it kind of comedic? I'm guessing that's a yes, or you guys have disappeared again on me.
Oh, we're still here, but I think Chris is. Well, he's moving.
He's lost in a train of his own thoughts.
I'm very good at standing still.
Are you on board with the silliness, Mr. Ush?
I'm totally on board with the silliness.
Okay, so do you play as the dominatrix or do you play as the curmudgeon? Because that's another choice I think we need to make.
You could also play as both.
Yeah, you could. Oh, and we have a twist, so maybe some questions will be cleared up. The final puzzle should involve moving loads of boxes around. I want to see a detailed plan for how this will work. Right up in your motherfucking ass, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a lot of anal stuff going on in this episode.
There's a lot of anal stuff going on in hip-hop, apparently. But I'm not going to... you guys can handle your own Freudian out there. It's totally cool with this mofo.
Dope.
So we do at least know how the game will end, and I want to move to that. So let's skip ahead a bit. We have a crate shoving puzzle, and I know that one of my co-hosts in particular love those.
Yo. I know. I think I know where this is going. Every time the because the small town has a cinema, they probably have an antique shop, they have tons of stuff. Every time something from Germany comes in, they store it away in this huge storage facility,
yes,
kind of
yes,
Raiders
yes.
of the Lost Ark stuff. And at the end of it, you have to find this guy's birth certificate or some shit like that. You have to shove around a lot of boxes to find something that you need in this huge storage facility full of German stuff.
So maybe at the end of it, you have to get to a situation of catharsis where you have to show him where he's from. You have to make him confront it. You have to make Tommy touch the mirror and see me, feel me, hear me, all that kind of shit.
You need to know who he was up until 1933 and no further.
Well, there's actually an interesting plot development here where we can start out with the silliness, but he needs to learn how to love again because he's being an asshole to everyone over the age of 15, and he needs to so the only way to get him to love again is to remind him of his past, but make sure that he doesn't go completely blitzkrieg on us.
Okay, how about this? You're in the warehouse, and it's like a maze. He starts walking towards where you want to go, but there's different paths, and sometimes you'll walk past a path that reminds him of Germany. And you want him to walk around those ones and walk past things that make him love. So...
Yeah, he will walk past the chic music of Wagner operas and stuff, and go, "Ooh, that's nice." Walk past a picture of Hitler, and he goes, "Something is stirring within me."
And you got to push these boxes around to make sure he does not go near those ones.
Yeah. Okay, so the dominatrix is pushing those boxes out of the way so that he can get through, because he has to find his own birth certificate, maybe, or something like that. Because immigration is coming for him.
It's not only a puzzle, it's also an arcade sequence where he's, coming up and you're like a couple of steps ahead of him and you just run around pushing boxes.
Exactly.
But if you walk really slow, make it easy.
Yeah. Well, you could have easy, medium, or hard.
Oh, you could be pushing him in a wheelchair, and then you could stop and get out ahead and move things out of the way.
Oh, I like that.
Nice plot development. We cut off his legs at some point.
Well, maybe he was, like Dr. Strangelove, maybe he was in a wheelchair the whole time. I mean, evil Nazis in wheelchairs, it does not get more stereotypical. And clearly we're going for, stereotypical territory here.
Actually, that solves another problem we could have run into, which is that obviously if you control both protagonists, you control the curmudgeon and the dominatrix, there will be certain areas that only the dominatrix can access, and there will be certain areas that only the pediatrician can access.
You're not speaking in euphemisms right now, are you?
Oh, no, none of that shit. Dope. Just the fact that certain places are inaccessible because they have no ramps, so you can't go there.
Ah, that makes sense. I like that. And I ain't talking about chicken and gravy, bitch.
For sure.
I love how these fall on dead silence most of the time, and it's as if it's completely normal.
It is.
I have never seen Gareth this baffled by silence before.
But straight up, home slices. What kind of plot development are we going for? We've got a setup and we've got a finish, but we got to think of the middle. So what are we actually accomplishing here?
MC Trolls just went Aristotle on our asses.
Well, the main thing is that we've got to get this guy to love again. I mean, obviously something very tragic happened in his past that we perhaps need to. We need to find out what it was that turned him into such a curmudgeon in the first place. Maybe that's the stuff that could be in the boxes that we need to guide him towards the right memories to make sure that he remembers the right stuff in a kind of a strange, kind of stupid farce in which you want him to remember a little bit of Germany, but not too much Germany, because too much Germany leads to issues.
Remember just enough Germany.
Yeah.
Just enough Germany, yeah.
Yeah. Could be the tagline. And
maybe it could be the title.
Just so I'm completely on the page here, for some reason the villagers have called in a dominatrix to parachute into the village to make sure that he doesn't remember Germany. What was the reason behind that again?
I guess they're noticing that he's losing his inner balance, and he's lashing out at people in uncomfortable ways.
Yeah, but why can't they deal with this shit on their own?
I don't know. I don't know, actually. Why can't they? Maybe they're...
You open a newspaper, you read an article about all the stuff she's doing in America, you're like, hey, let's bring her over.
Yeah, I guess. And have you ever been to a small American town? No offense to people out there, but I think we're probably talking about a southern place where the Brain Trust Fund aren't exactly the city elders.
You said that, Chisel, homie, not me.
I said that shit, bro.
Maybe nobody in this town knows how to deal with pediatricians.
maybe all the the parents of the children are just fed up with his ass, and maybe some of them don't even know that he has this Germany problem either. So some of them who are kind of, I mean, maybe it's only like the select few who know that Herr Schmidt over here, he has kind of a checkered past, but let's not tell anyone. So the rest of the town are kind of oblivious to this. So they just, parachute this girl in who can,
whip him into shape.
Whip him into shape, warm him up to his peers and stuff.
Yeah.
So the dominatrix was hired in to teach him how to love again, and that had unexpected consequences, which now need to be mopped up.
Yeah, because she learns through some contrived happenstance that he is in fact this German war criminal who experimented on infants. And she sees the value in not reminding him of this because, we've got kind of a conspiracy vibe going on here. We've got these, town elders who are keeping him in town, and they know perfectly well what kind of a shit he is. They're not telling anyone.
But he's good with children.
He's so good with children, they don't want to lose him.
And should any of the children go lost along the way, then the greater good.
Yeah, but the cool thing is they don't. So we can even have multiple endings here. Do you call the state elders out and risk him going blitzkrieg on the children's population of this town, or do you keep their secret with 5 minutes to go on the clock?
I like that idea. I like the idea of multiple endings. I also like the idea of controlling multiple characters to get at different aspects of the story and to have different impact upon that story and the way in which people interact with each other and the way that things go. Because those multiple endings don't necessarily have to be decided in the final act. The way that you've dealt with the problems up to that point may mean that as you go further down, there'll be fewer and fewer avenues for you to walk down.
Oh, there'll be fewer and fewer avenues.
Go home, Fred.
Oh, that was so good. I lost a brain cell. Actually, I just watched a Let's Play of this game, Undertale. You may have heard of it, because the rest of the internet sure have. And it is very much like that. You go through the entire game, and every choice that you make impacts on the ending that you get. So I quite like the idea of us doing the same thing, where it's not just Sophia asking you which path do you want to take. You literally, once you uncover the conspiracy, the steps that you take, more like Blade Runner the game actually, the steps that you take influence how the story is going to unfold.
Right.
So you would be talking to other people about this guy's life, and how you get information out of them determines the ending. Like, would you use the whip or would you use the feather tickler?
That's actually a good game mechanic. And I was about way back in the beginning to suggest that if you play as the dominatrix and we have like a classic point-and-click interface on this, you could have some very interesting icons to just walk and touch and talk and taste and smell. You could have this tool rack basically.
Maybe
all of her inventory items already.
Yeah, she starts out with a full inventory, as you mentioned.
Maybe.
We have another twist.
I'll save mine.
We somehow burned through. I can't actually read this number, but we burned through a lot of dollars. Chop this game in half immediately. I suppose. So which half do you want to chop off, guys?
Oh, I don't want to chop off the multiple ending bit. Maybe we can make a really, really short game because we don't have much in the middle anyway.
We chop off.
True.
Sorry, Chris?
We chop off the middle half.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it just basically cuts from her arriving to the denouement.
I can imagine this, this roundtable meeting with the developers and the producer, and he's going, "Well, have you solved it?" And they all go, "Well, we're gonna chop out the middle half."
Because we haven't designed it yet. So here was an idea that I had. Maybe they didn't call in the dominatrix to sort of fix him up. Maybe it's one of the state elders who has heard wonderful things about her and has invited her to town to please himself. But the dominatrix has a child, and the child falls ill and must go visit this pediatrician, and that's when the plot unfolds.
That's very, very good. Though, I mean, now the last twist dictates that that's where the game ends. Right as the plot begins to unfold, we'll go, "See you in the sequel!"
I'll run another Kickstarter for that.
The classic one would be "to be continued," and then just link to the Kickstarter underneath.
Do we include the box puzzle, or do we save that for the Kickstarter?
I guess we could include the box puzzle because the first twist dictates that we need it, so we would end with that, and then there, I guess, is an, as of now, undesigned second half where
I got a brilliant one.
Yeah,
because we're going with the silliness, of course we can do the thing where if we have to bridge certain sections of the story together, we don't actually have to do that. We can just cut and just go weeks later, and then a completely different situation has arisen. Kind of like how they skipped Lisa Suit Larry 4, kind of, well, where the fuck am I now? Like, keep the player guessing. We don't
2.5 minutes later.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, I'm now trapped in an underground storage closet. Boom, cut to black. Now I'm in the street. Fuck you.
I guess we could do that, kind of like have it disjointed.
Yeah.
Frankly, it works well for this idea because this idea is so out there that I'm getting the feeling we've kind of been struggling to come up with anything.
Oh, Chris, you look like you have a last-minute thing to add in the last 10 seconds. Go.
Okay, so you're just saying, like, she parachutes in, they explain the situation, weeks later they've done the therapy, and the main puzzle is just pushing him through the warehouse, where we find out the birth certificate, we discover who he is, it's a big twist, we continue.
Good timing, sir.
I guess not. Okay.
I thought it was a good idea. The machine didn't. Well, I'll let you finish your sentence just because I'm that nice.
No, that was the end. It was just...
Oh,
just be continued as he gets the birth certificate.
Gareth is trying to show something to us.
Uh-oh.
Let's see
what it is.
That tends to be fun.
Make it big. Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, prostituted. That guy was...
do you want to read it out loud for the audio people?
I'm sorry. It says, prostitute in Max Mosley Nazi dungeon orgy was wife of MI5 officer. And Gareth is highlighting the blurb underneath, which goes... An MI5 agent has been forced to resign after it was revealed his wife took part in a Nazi-style sex orgy with Formula One boss Max Mosley. The wife of an MI5, apparently that's his name, an MI5 agent, was one of the 5 prostitutes who took part in a... That's the same...
Yeah.
It says exactly the same as it did above.
Okay, it's a newspaper article.
You now know the story, and basically, I guess the rest of the article is just repetitions of that.
Yeah, it's just the same sentence over and over again.
The wife of an MI5 agent.
That's the London Evening Standard for you.
Oh yeah, good. Well, as they say, ethics in games journalism. So,
boom.
Daush. Would you like to recap what we somehow begrudgingly came up with?
And could you do it in an exciting style, dog?
All right.
The
game takes place in a town in Germany that has long since cleansed itself of any affiliation with World War II. One of their beloved town members is a former Nazi scientist who used to perform experiments on children, but is now a beloved pediatrician. Until one day he starts going a little nuts. So they look at the newspaper and realize we need to call in this world-famous dominatrix to come in and teach him to love again. So she parachutes down. They explain the situation. You tickle some people with a feather or whip them. And then it cuts to weeks later, after you've solved all the puzzles, where you're going into this warehouse to find his birth certificate to teach him who he really is, because he's quickly developing amnesia about everything. And you're pushing him on a wheelchair through the warehouse. You have to take certain paths because sometimes there's a ramp or there's not a ramp. And you got to push boxes out of the way that remind him of Germany, and push in other ones that remind him of better Germany. And
good Germany, bad Germany.
And I don't know how well designed this looks, but there's basically lines, and you follow the lines, and it's.
Can you hold that up while we lock the screen for a second?
Yeah,
I don't know if it.
Let me try and lock the screen to you.
For those of you listening to the audio version, Chris has actually drawn the box maze on a piece of paper.
It's pretty much go left, up, right, up, left, up.
Roberta Williams would be proud of you. And I see you've also written the title on there that we agreed on. Just Enough Germany.
That's a question. I didn't put a question mark. So.
I actually like that title. It's kind of like it's a little bit like Time, Gentlemen, Please, or something like that.
I like it as well. I mean, I started out saying it would be a nice tagline, but actually you're right. It's a much better title. Just Enough Germany.
Just Enough Germany.
That the chat. So.
From the makers of Assassin's Cream, Peckfinger Piss Flaps comes Just Enough Germany.
And Chris's parents are calling him out going, so what did you do last night? Well, I was on this show. No, wait, I wasn't. Don't go on YouTube.
So, Chris, clearly you've already started mapping out sections of this game. Would this actually be something that you would like to pay for?
This actually sounds like a really good proof of concept project, because at the end it ends to be continued. So, and you can build up some kind of a serious story building up to what he discovers at the end of that warehouse.
Yeah.
I had the same thought. This could be a very, very fun short game. Like it kind of like a trailer for a much longer game, but you play the trailer. It just cuts between scenes.
Or like the old shareware culture of way back when. You would get one episode of the game and then you would pay for the remaining ones.
Yeah, you want to know how this ends? Kickstart.
Oh yeah, obviously.
I also like the fact that the plot is so bizarre that you could use it as a proof of concept to go, look, this is our new game engine. This is how we're going to make games. Obviously, we're not going to make that. But we could make. We could do all these different things. So you can in the same way that with science fiction stories you can kind of explore things that you wouldn't normally be able to do because you can just make things otherworldly and bizarre. I think there's a lot you can do with a dominatrix that's parachuted into West Germany.
Well, I can think of a few things you can do with a dominatrix who just parachuted into West Germany.
I can think of a lot of things you would do with it. Anyway, actually, I know we're not designing anymore. We are, and I'm not. I am thinking marketing. Episodic gaming is quite popular. We've got King's Quest, we've got Telltale. I don't think anyone has tried doing an episodic game out of order. So basically, you get episode 1 and 6 for free, and then you have to wait for us to do episode 4, and then we do episode 2, and then we do episode 5.
You're totally designing right now, but I'm gonna let you run with it because that idea is brilliant.
Thank you.
This would be 4 episodes because we're cutting out the half.
Yeah.
We have to kickstart episodes 2 to 5.
It's gonna be fun when we do DLC for it, because then we have to tell people that Just Enough Germany really wasn't Germany enough. They need to buy more Germany.
Oh, right. We don't even know if episode 6 is the final episode. We could announce episode 12. And then just fuck everything up.
Well, actually, I'm thinking it's been done before. Space Quest 4 did it, except they didn't do it in self-contained unit, but that's kind of the same thing you're aiming for.
True. We could do a modern take on that. Okay, I'm not designing.
Well, I thought that was a good idea to end on. So unless anyone has anything to add to that final idea, I'm going to say that
I think the idea of raising enough money to just do half the game and then trying to justify why and how you've done that afterwards isn't just a fine idea; it's a double fine idea.
Well played, sir.
That
Now
was dope.
That was the dope line I was looking for, because that's it for Open Crowdsource for this episode. Before we go, a funky ass, big ass fuck you to Michael Council, whose ass has straight up generously donated to the Backseat Designers Patreon fund. Y'all know that shit, motherfucker. Enough props, Michael, and fuck you for the photos of y'all and you watching the show at home. Again, I must stress that this has been run through a machine that translates the word thank to the word fuck, apparently. So, Michael, sincerely from all of us, even though the Gazoogle machine thinks otherwise, thank you so much for the stuff you continuously do for us.
And fuck you.
That's on you, good sir. Now, next week, our crazy asses have Richard Coppett. I ain't talking about chicken and gravy, bitch. That kicks off. It says here that it's supposed to kick off Sun-Dissel afternoon, but it's actually more like Fried Dissel, and we've updated the YallTube page accordingly if you're looking for your local time. Enough props to our esteemed guest, Chris Ushko. Now, Mr. Ush, do you have any projects that you would like to plug while you're here?
Yeah, actually, right now I'm working on my first Unity game. It's called Chester Cornfield, Old Timey Detective. It's going to be a short demo, and I plan to make a bigger game out of it. But for more information, just follow me on my Twitter at chrisushko.com. Or not Chris Ushko, just...
Or go to chrisushko.com.
Yeah, Chris Ushko. Yeah, well, no, the other one's my demo. The Twitter, just Chris Ushko. There.
And we just have to throw in the bomb diggity that was Space Quest Incinerations, because that game is fantastic. You should all go and play that. It's amazing, and Chris did that practically on his own. It's fantastic.
Yeah, go download that by all means. And Chris also did some work on the game called Vohall Strikes Back, another Space Quest fan game. He also did, and it's a shame that they don't really run well on modern systems, these hilarious Monkey Island parody games called The Devil's Triangle, which was Monkey Island meets Mission Impossible, I think, or was that MI2? Well, anyway, he did a bunch of those, and they were quite brilliant.
Find a Windows 95 emulator. They should work.
Yeah, you hit up that virtual machine and go download them. So, yeah. Okay, yo ass can find the show and all the details on backseatdesigners.com. If you trip off the show, you can now down-nissel the home edition of the Open Crowdsource machine. Right back up in your motherfucking ass. And there is a lot of stuff in your motherfucking ass currently, so you better wipe. So you can play that game yo ass for reals. Well, he says that. And of course, also on that joint is our Twitter, our Facebook, our YallTube, and most blingingly, all the links so you can subscribe to the show right back up in yo motherfucking ass. I'm really getting a Freudian vibe from this hip-hop speak. So say peace out, Gareth.
Yo.
Y'all know that shit, motherfucker. Say peace out, trolls.
Bring it.
And it's peace out from me as well, right back up in yo motherfucking ass. See you people on Friday next week.